Mr.
You need to come. Yeah.
Always dangerous giving me a microphone. Okay. Our policies and procedures are our kids come to the Boys and Girls Club by bus. They're checked in. They do not leave the facility until the parent arrives at the facility in the parking lot, enters the building, and signs the child out. They don't, and understand where we are now. I'm kind of excited to actually have a parking space, much less 23, because I have none now. So I can only envision that parents will actually pull in the parking lot, because why would they not pull in the parking lot? You know, if we have one available, they're going to use it. Right now, they park on the street. Did that answer?
Yeah, that answers my question, and that's exactly why, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, because that gives us time to, if we do want to look at it, we're not having any unsafe condition before we would consider dropping the speed limit down.
And kids come at a staggered rate, because, you know, our middle school gets out at a certain time, high school gets out, elementary school gets out, all the buses arrive at a different time, and then kids go home at a different time. So it's very, very staggered. So, and I'm not sure, and I should have read your article in the Mountain View News. I still have it in my car. I'm not sure if the law that we can't be within a child, is it a child activity or a school?
School.
It's a school, because we're not coded as a school. We're coded as assembly. Because if I'm coded as school, I don't have to do all those things that Bob Camp says I have to do, like revolve my doors into the hallway and stuff. So, that's a point of order right there. We're not a school. We're coded by your city code as an assembly, recreation.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lancaster. Any other council comments?
I have a question, I think.
Go.
So really, there'd be no requirement in your view for a crosswalk or a decrease of the speed limit down to 15?
Well, we don't have that now, Mr. Blanchard. So, our kids aren't running out into the street. They're not going past the door without being in the hands of mom and dad. So, once they leave the facility, mom and dad have to have them in tow. And that's for a good reason, so kids don't run out into the street and get run over.
So it doesn't appear that there would be a requirement to lower the speed limit on the street?
I'm going to defer that back to however you guys make your study
Okay.
and work session and magic stuff happen. I don't have it now, and no one's ever brought that to our attention now, is that we need big yellow signs with kids crossing and all that now. So I don't know, and people race down First Street to get to the beverage house, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Well, I was just going to make the comment. It seems that right now, not only are you under the beverage house, but is it possible that you're pretty close to a jazz bar?
Linda's Lounge, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That rock and rolls, yeah. They're good neighbors too.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not really comfortable with council debating with somebody at the lectern. If we have questions of the legal people to answer, that would be appropriate. Mr. Johnson?
Having said that, I'll risk saying this, but I may have a question for Ms. Lancaster. I'm glad you mentioned the assembly and school difference. I think state law was changed where charter schools or schools were restricted within, as you mentioned. So that answered one of my questions. The second question was, and this is a broad question, but I'm leaning towards supporting this for the reason that this is looked to be at a temporary facility, and the point being there that as a nonprofit organization, I'm sure you have a capital campaign plan. Just as a general ballpark, what is that plan?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
Once it fell apart in November and December, we're trying to regroup, and my focus is getting a place. So that little campaign is doing its thing, and we're in negotiation, and we can't make it public yet because the other party hasn't done an MOU. It's temporary right now, and if it's not approved, we're out of business. I mean, I don't mean to put a threat there, but we're being evicted, so I mean, there's, choices are pretty small. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lancaster.
Can I go that way now?
Mr. Bertucci, do you have something to say? City Attorney, any clarifications for council you wish to bring up?
No. And I think
Okay.
Mr. Green,
Yeah.
just
Go
back
ahead,
on
Mr. Hardwick.
Councilmember Blanchard's point real quick, come over here to this microphone. The discussion in terms of the traffic, and I know, because we worked on it back when the debacle here was here with the charter school and the issues that Mr. Kerger raised at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and a big issue then, which in our discussions with the Boys and Girls Club, it would be different in that I remember parents used to park over here on the vacant lot. They used to park up and down the street here, and much like the problem we had at Huachuca Mountain Elementary School, the kids would just run across the street with no control in that area for their parents who are waiting here. And of course, there's a fair amount of commercial traffic that comes down here. This was discussed actually during and then in some of the staff discussions we've had since the Planning and Zoning Commission, that based on our understanding from the Boys and Girls Club, it would be a very different situation from the charter school, because it won't be lined with traffic here and sitting on the parking lots telling their kids to run across because of the procedures the Boys and Girls Club have.
Okay. And Rick, you were at the Planning and Zoning meeting. Any illuminating conversation out of the Planning and Zoning that in fact approved this?
I think we probably discussed most of the issues already. One of the issues that did come up was the speed, and if in fact we were going to have to do something, I think with a promise from the city staff to look at that as it develops, I think we probably will meet most of the concerns that I heard at the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Ms. Husky?
I just have a question with regard to what is the meaning of temporary? Would this be 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? You said up to 300 kids in 3 years, but was there some kind of limit put on it by the city then, or? Okay.
No, there's no limitation. There's no definition of temporary. Temporary has to do with when the new building gets along.
Okay.
Could be 5 years.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I need to know.
Anybody else? Okay. The issue before us is a resolution for a conditional use permit for the Boys and Girls Club of Sierra Vista. All in favor? It's unanimous.